Hey guys, welcome to another video on Inside Spurs. Good to see you all again. I took some time off over the weekend to enjoy it. It was a lovely weekend. Some hit and miss weather, but it was good. Hope you all are well and safe. Ironically, taking time off over the weekend when it comes to a Spurs transfer window is brave, and probably is the best way to describe it. This whole Paratiki, negotiating the 7 or 8 players per position and then pulling the trigger on something really makes us just, in terms of the rumour mill, wild. It seems like every day we are linked with 8 to 10 new people. Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to happen, but, we are linked. And I guess it's nice. It's always exciting. Oh, we've got this new player that we're linked with. We've got this player we're linked with. Oh, what's going on with him? What's going on with him? But at the same time, it's hard to actually sort of keep on control and keep behind these things and sort of see what's going on, because it just gets washed away. There's a new guy that comes in, that gets washed away, there's a new one, you see how it works. So yeah, we'll talk some ins and outs. Let me start really with a big one today. Eriksen. Turns out Spurs aren't very keen on the proposition of getting back together with him. Came from Ali Gold literally only a few hours ago that he said those within Spurs have distanced themselves from any talk or discussions regarding Eriksen. It's a shame, in my opinion. A creative midfielder, something that we do need. Free, wants to stay in London. I know it's come out and said it's not the be-all and end-all, but, preferably he wants to stay in London. Wanted Champions League football. Again, I know not be an end-all, but wants really Champions League football. Knows Conte's system, knows Conte, knows Spurs. And yeah, I was quite surprised to see that, really. I know just before the weekend, it was, we're pole position, he's coming here. Done thing, sort of that sort of nature, and it's come out 72 hours later, not going to happen. Actually, we're not interested in him. So it looks like maybe Man United for Eriksen. Again, it's a massive club. It's something to, you tell your grandkids and kids, I played for Man United, all that stuff. But yeah, well, let's wait and see on that one. The transfer market is a mental place, and depending on how we look maybe in a few days' time in terms of deals, we might go, actually, he's free. We need the depth. Still might to pull the trigger. So I'm not going to rule it out. It's like the Bastoni situation. I'm not going to rule it out, but it's unlikely. That's the best way to sort of sum it up. Now, I'm going to preface this first with what Romano said and then who we're interested in. So Fabrizio Romano said, focus on a right-back, centre-back, striker. Okay, we know that. Okay. I'm going to start at the right-back position. Jed Spencer's obviously, that's the one that everyone sort of really knows that we're interested in. It's still nowhere nearer to potentially being done. Okay, he has a lot of suitors, a lot of interest. No deal agreed, no contract talks, nothing. So again, it's not that something. Don't expect it to be done in the next couple of days. It's not going to be. If it was to happen, it's not going to be then. I hope we do get Jed Spence. I really like Jed Spence, homegrown as well. Another tick in my box, that sort of thing. The other one that we're linked with, and Spurs fans seem to be going a bit mental over it, is Achraf Hakimi. Absolutely unbelievable right wing back. I'm not gonna say he's not. He's brilliant. Defensively, not stalwart. I wouldn't say he's a lockdown defender. He is good, very good going forward though. I'd probably say he's a much bigger upgrade going forward than he would be on Doherty, Spence, or even Emerson. But if we're talking something like 80, 90, 100 million pounds, not euros, pounds, makes me sort of think, I probably would rather a couple of players with that money, that really quality, say 40, 45 million pounds each, to really bolster out the squads. And I'd still get Spence. That, maybe that's for the same price of Hakimi. We get 3 players who we need. So I don't know. But for me, I think that money can be spent in a better way. I think there's other positions that we need that might require a little bit more money for than a right wing back who we could go get a really exciting talent who is English, can play right wing back, good going forward, good creator of the ball. So I don't know, but yeah, I think my opinion is Spence than Hakimi in my personal opinion. Centre back position. So everyone obviously knows Obviously, Bastoni, that's unlikely. Pau Torres, that's quieting down quite a bit. I know his links to Man United have picked up a little bit again. But sort of who we're interested in, there was a few extra names that came out over the weekend. You got Piero Hincapié at Leverkusen, and you've got Ndicka at Frankfurt. So starting with Hincapié, this came from Tom Hopkinson in Mirror Football. He said he's been on Spurs' radar for a while. Okay, really good talent. Really good talent. Played quite a bit of football last season for Leverkusen. Quite athletic, good on the ball. I really like that move. It was one that I wasn't expecting. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. This is going to... Yeah, not at all. That did come out of left field. But I really like that. He's probably not going to be too expensive compared to maybe a Pau Torres, well, definitely a Bastoni. But yeah, I wouldn't turn my nose up at him whatsoever. I think there's a real talent there. The Ndicka one, he's actually going to, of the two, be cheaper as well. So this came from Foot Mercato. It says we're in pole position to sign him. Okay, came out of the weekend. Pole position might not mean anything in a couple of days, but athletic, okay? He was instrumental for Frankfurt this season, especially on that Europa League run that they had, which was mental. It was a great Europa League campaign. Anyone that didn't enjoy it probably was supporting a team that probably should have been further in it. I thought it was awesome. And I think he was very, very good. And he was massive for them. Everyone talks about Kostic. He was also massive. And you know, they both play on the left-hand side of the defence. So, yeah, I wouldn't turn my nose up at either of them. If we got one of them and let's say a Gleison Bremer, yeah, I'd be thrilled with that. You know, if you're getting two of them for half of what Hakimi's paying for and then you buy Spence, say that's about 80 million, I'm sitting there going, hang on, I think that's a much better use of money than 100 million Hakimi. Hakimi won't go anywhere this summer, in my opinion, unless it's for 100 million, you know. So, not really sure on that. The third one from Mundo Deportivo was Clement Longley from Barca. I talked about it probably not long ago, where it was talked about as a sort of like a loan deal. He's got apparently an offer from Spurs and Marseille, and that's according to Mundo Deportivo, obviously. So he's due to meet his agent to speak about these offers. I can't see that being a permanent Spurs, though. I do think that might be maybe a year-long loan deal, maybe a 2-year loan deal, with maybe an option to buy. I don't know. Again, I think it's good backup to have. I think when you think of, you know, our defence, if you said, you know, you've got Romero that side, maybe you've got Dyer or Bremer in the centre. I don't know if, you know, Bremer would start over Dyer. I think Dyer is very important for the defence in terms of keeping some consistency. But if Longley was to come in behind a Pau Torres, a Hincapié and Ndicka, yeah, I would really like that move. I really, really would. You know, it's not going to be too expensive if it's the loan deal sort of situation. His wages are a bit high. From what I understand, they're around 180k a week. That's quite a lot of money for a backup centre-back. But again, if it's a loan deal, maybe if it's only for a year, you're taking a punt. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But, I mean, if we'd say paying, let's say 5 million for a loan offer, pay his wages, I mean, if you're talking, 200k a week, that's 800k over a month. You know, in reality, you might spend somewhere between 10 to 20 million on that deal. If it's obviously depending if it's a 1 or a 2 year loan deal, obviously. I don't see much harm in that personally, you know, left-footed centre-back that we need. But, you know, it might come that he might only come if maybe Sanchez goes, or he might come if Rodon goes. I mean, Rodon's linked with an £11 million deal to leave, and I think that's an absolute joke to Forest. I'd be more than thrilled to get him out on loan to Forest with no obligation to buy, but I'd like him to come back because I think, like Alex the Goal, he actually said, look, if you loan him out, his price will go up. You know, if he has a good season as well, it might double his price. Then you might, if you wanted to cash in, that's where you make money. But to send him out for 11 million when I think we even paid more than that, no, I wouldn't be anywhere interested in that. But a loan deal to Forest, wouldn't have any issues with that at all. But, you know, again, wouldn't be saying, oh yeah, you can have him then next summer for 20 million. I think his price could even rise a bit further. So yeah, no, it's quite exciting with that. One that came out a little bit of left field as well was David Raum. Now, I don't know if you've seen David Raum or anything like that. He did play against England for Germany, obviously not long ago. He's sort of a left back, can play a little bit of left mid. But this came from Jonathan Schrager, who said it was interest from Spurs, City, United and Dortmund. Okay, now Dortmund being interested in a player from the Bundesliga to probably get him primed and ready to go to Bayern doesn't shock me. City, I guess it's not a shock as such because you can clearly tell they want another left back. You know, obviously Cucurella was the one that we all thought, but you know, maybe David Raum could be that guy. You know, obviously Pep knows the Bundesliga. He's probably got people within his team that know the Bundesliga quite well, so wouldn't surprise me. United are probably linked with everyone under the sun, but the way they seem to be going is a bit of a joke at the moment, their whole situation. So I don't know. But yeah, I think he's a really good player. Do really, really think he's a good player. I'd be interested to know how much he would potentially cost, though. Bear in mind, we've signed Perisic, we've got Cess, and we're still holding on to Reguilon, which, you know, we got to pay 28 million to Real Madrid this summer for him. So I don't know. I really don't know. I didn't expect to be interested with another left back or left wing back, but he would perfectly suit the team. Absolutely perfectly suit it. But then that makes me think, does Sessegnon go as well if we're holding on to Perisic and maybe Raum? Does Sessegnon go out on loan? Because obviously, Perisic is not going to be around for 5 years. So I'm not sure about that one. I quite like Sessegnon. Again, it's that homegrown situation that we're talking about. That, you know, we're looking at a lot of English players because we need to sort the homegrown situation out. And Forster's come in. You know, Winks might be leaving. So, and obviously Rodon might count as that. So I don't actually know about that move personally. Over the weekend, Gabby Jesus, obviously he's picked to go to Arsenal, which, like I said, I think it's a good move for him and it's a good move for them. They need an out-and-out striker. He'd get first-team football. Arsenal probably pay a good amount of money per week for him. And City get a good deal out of it because, well, they pretty much pay for Haaland virtually from that deal. So you're trading in one and getting in Erling Haaland. That's not too bad. It came out, look, Spurs are going to make one last push to see if we can persuade Gabby Jesus. Persuade might not be the right word, but you know what I mean. See if we can get him a little bit more interested in Spurs. I wouldn't say he's not interested, but when he's looking at it, in fact, you got Harry Kane, you got Son and Kulusevski, who all played fantastically over from January onwards. Where am I fitting into that team? And I've always been the one to say, Harry Kane's not playing every game, Son won't play every game, Kulusevski's not playing every game. You will get a lot of minutes if you're willing to play, because we've got a lot of competitions. There's going to be a lot of big games. Kane never really stays fit as well. Ironically, last season he did, but he doesn't really ever stay that fit. And with the World Cup slap bang in the middle, you just never know. But I believe if we're going to spend 45, 50 million, Gabby Jesus is not a bad way to spend it. I still think he's going to Arsenal personally. Obviously, I know they signed Fabio Vieira, they're interested in Tielemans, and then they're not interested in Tielemans, but then they are. And then it's come out, they're leading race for Rafinha. Now, I was a bit like, oh, that's a bit of a shame. I'd like Rafinha at Spurs. And then I saw they're wanting around 65 to 75 million, and I went, I probably wouldn't want him at Spurs for that kind of money. That's a lot of money for a player who, yes, might be Prem proven, but again, it's like the Hakimi thing. I think I've never been one of these people that goes, can we just spend the majority of our budget on one player? I personally think, get that money, say if it's 150 million, buy 5 players. I would much rather quality of depth. And it's come out from Conte, basically, to say that he wants the players to sit there and say, look, you're not guaranteed to play every week. There is no starting 11 that is guaranteed in cement every single week. He wants players to think, I need to train hard because I want to play in the next game. And if I train hard, I will play. I would like that depth, that quality of depth as well. I mean, that is something Spurs have lacked for a very long time. And if we're sitting there going, all right, let's go get Hakimi and let's go get Rafinha for 150 million in total, I don't like that personally. I'd love the Basuma move. The Perisic move is probably the most underrated move we've made. Forster is a quality backup. Those are some really good moves. But if then we're shipping off, some of these other players that are, in theory, our backups, and we're shifting off more than we're getting to get in, then where's the quality of backups? It's a 5 sub rule this year. benches are increasing in size in the Champions League as well. We need depth. We can't just sit there and go, oh, look, we've got 3 centre mids will do. Oh, yeah, 4.5, maybe 5 centre backs will do. Yeah, maybe a couple of left backs, maybe a right back. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, let's go get Kimmy. No. Go and get the quality of depth, in my opinion. That's my personal preference. I know we could love to get that Hollywood signing, but do you know what? I think Conte can make anyone a quality player. So, in my opinion, let's go and get people to suit his system, and we can build them into that. There's no reason why Spence, in the next sort of 2-3 years, could be one of the best right backs in England. I'm not going to say the world. I'm not going to say that, but he could do that. I'm not saying he would, but he definitely could do that. And for 20 million, even let's say in a few years' time he wanted to move on, you probably end up getting a lot more money than 20 million. So it's also a bit of an investment, which I know Spurs love. Okay. That's sort of about coming ins. It was ironic as well where I talked about Anthony from Ajax, and I was like, oh yeah, you'll probably find that at some point there'll be a links around Bergwijn going in the deal with them cash. Funny how that came out over the weekend after I talked about it days before. Yeah, Spurs might look to put Bergwijn in this deal for Anthony. I'm not going to say I'm in the know. I'm not saying that whatsoever, but it's ironic that it comes out. But obviously, Sebastian Haller, their striker from Ajax, he's got a bid on the table right now, hasn't he? So it's come out, knowing what we know about the situation with Bergwijn wanting to leave, that as long as the Haller sale to Dortmund can go ahead, it's come out, and this has come from Mike Verwell, which, by the way, if you don't know him, he's like the number one guy when it comes to Ajax. He's tier one. He knows his stuff. He's been talking about, the Frenkie de Jong situation a little bit, because obviously Frenkie used to play for Ajax, and obviously that's the link to Man United. Yuri and Timber, all these people, right? They've basically said if they can sell Haller, it will allow Ajax to increase their offer, right? Okay, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. We don't actually want a lot more than what they're offering. I know they'll probably pay hardball and they'd probably want to save, a couple $100K here or there. A part of me just thinks, I'm not going to say sell up and lose out on like an extra 20%. But if it's a case of maybe 500 grand, $1 million, pull the trigger, move them on, go and use that money quickly to get someone else in, because we want these deals done before we go to Korea. So depends on that Haller situation. Haller was great last year for Ajax, and I think it was like 33 million euros. If I'm Ajax, I might see if I can squeeze a few extra pennies out of that. I think you probably could. Dortmund have a need. I know they signed Adeyemi, and they've got Daniel Malen, but they've got a bit of a need for a big guy up top. And well, Haller's not Erling Haaland. I'm not going to say he is, but he was quality last year, and he'd probably do pretty well in the Bundesliga, to be fair. I know it's a step up from the Eredivisie, but it's still the Bundesliga. There's still a lot of average teams towards the bottom that he could probably fill your boots on. Højbjerg, the general of the midfield. I was shocked when Football Insider put him in a story and then removed his name. Alistair Gold, final nail on the coffin. Spurs have no intentions to sell him. Good. I think we need some sort of consistency in this team, so we can't just get rid of everyone in 1 year. Some of these things might take 1 to 2 years to get rid of players that make this more of a Conte system and more of a Conte squad. He's the general in the midfield. He's the one that's been there the longest. He's the one that is consistently played. Doesn't really get injured. At least not to the point that stops him playing. I know he does play through injury quite a bit, which, it shows the character of the guy. I absolutely love Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. We need to keep him, in my opinion. When you think of, I've got Bentancur, who is one of my favourite players, if I'm honest. Bentancur, you think of Skips coming through, which is good. He's starting to get fit again, which is nice. It's taken forever. You're adding in now Basuma. You do need that one guy who's always been there for ages, who can mould the centre mid team and make them more of a group, in my opinion. I think no one player should sit there and be like, I need to start ahead of him, because, like I said, 5 subs, loads of competitions to play in this year. You're all going to play loads of football. And actually, if we can save some of you here and there not playing every single game, that prolongs your quality of performance and career at the end of the day. So, yeah, good news about that. Emerson Royale. This I found very interesting. So his agent spoke to Mundo Deportivo. First and foremost, his agent is ironically called Emerson. It's Emerson Zulu, which, don't know about you guys, belter of a name. Absolute belter of a name. And he's actually said to Mundo Deportivo, I've been in casual talks with Atletico. Doesn't shock anyone. I said it not long ago. They've been speaking, Emerson and Atletico linked for about 6-7 months now. Doesn't shock me. I know that we all know they want him. We all know they want Lo Celso. Nothing's really progressed in terms of that, but that coming out from his agent was really interesting to know that, okay, that's still on the table. You know, think of when I talked about Pau Torres and that quieting down. Lo Celso, you know, that's quieting down. Excuse me. A lot of other things and rumours that we had that were so prevalent last week have sort of tailed off a little bit since then. That's one that's come back into the fold again. I think Emerson does actually want to leave. I think he does enjoy playing for Tottenham. I think he enjoys playing, you know, in London and I don't know. It depends really what Spurs. What's the situation with Matt Doherty? How is he recovering from the injury that he got against Villa? Is Emerson Royal the odd man out if we're going to go and buy the spent or, you know, go and spend the war chest on Hakimi? Is he the odd one out? And you think if we're spending, let's say, big bucks, let's play hypothetical. If we're spending big bucks on Hakimi, and you sell Bergwijn and sell Emerson, and let's say you ship off Lo Celso, you sell them all, right? I think you probably make 65 to 70 million. Okay. I think you probably sit there and go, yeah, we're going to get 25 each. But let's say 25 Bergwijn, because I think that's what we actually want. And let's say 20 for the other two. Okay, let's call it 65 million. If you've gone down and said, PSG will take 95 million, right? Really random number. Let's call it the top end of that valuation area. It might be a little bit more, but you know, those add-ons and things like that. You know, Spurs winning the quadruple, yeah, we'll give you an extra 20 million. It's not going to happen, okay? If let's say hypothetical, we sell 65 million for those three players, and we're going by Hakimi for 95 million. It's not the worst deal in the world because we're 30 million, 35 million out, you know? That's not bad. What I don't want is to go, right, there's 95 million for Hakimi. Oh, we're struggling to sell Emerson. Oh, we're not really getting the deal for Bergwijn. Oh, yeah, not really getting the deal for this. Oh, but don't worry, we'll sell Rodon. No, you see what I mean? I still think you could trade in Emerson and get Spence, which there's a lot more upside to Spence. He's better going forward. Homegrown, quality player. I still think Bergwijn goes. I just think we might have to wait for the Haller situation to rectify itself and then for Ajax to go, right, we can pull the trigger now on Bergwijn. There's 25 million, which I think is what we want. Somewhere in there. I think we wanted what we paid for him, but just round it to 25. I think that's where we want it. Wink situation, we'll have to wait and see. Again, it's another homegrown player, which if you're letting him go, you can sort of replace that situation with Spence. I know Alfie Devine scored an absolute belter on international duty, but I don't think they're ready just yet. And I would love for them to get some game time out on loan. I have no issues with Rodon going out on loan to get some game time. Maybe Rodon goes on loan, Longley comes in, you spend the money on Longley basically to warrant loaning out Rodon, get more experience, comes back. Maybe Rodon starts. Maybe Rodon's ready for the Conte system. Maybe Conte goes, do you know what? I think he's good. I don't think he's ever going to be exactly what we need. Or we can cash in. Look at his market value. Now it's 30 million. You know, I'm not saying it would be, but you know what I mean? It's all hypothetical. Cash in. Take that money. Right, boom. There's another player to replace him. Right, we've got a guy now. Maybe that money goes to a Bastoni next summer. You know? So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm interested to see. There'll probably be some more stories coming out. We'll link with this random person again from the Serie A. I'd be interested to see if anything comes out about. I know Skriniar is still heavily linked with PSG, but I'm still fascinated by the Inter finances. It's a bit like a Barca situation. They need money by the end of this month, and we're talking. It's only just over a week away now at the end of this month. They're going to look to be signing Lukaku. You know, it's a £10 million loan fee, and all those wages got to pick up. They're still looking to sign Dybala. They're signing this other player today. I couldn't remember his name for the life of me, but it's a £4 million loan deal. You think they're still wanting Bremer. They've already signed people before. Where on earth are you getting the money for this? Because you need to sell, and you need to sell big. Martez doesn't. They look like they're not going to sell it because Marotta, the CEO, said it's easier to replace centre half than it is a striker. Okay, I don't think Skriniar's cutting it in terms of selling him and going, there's our finances sorted. I think Skriniar and extra. It might be Skriniar, De Vrij and Dumfries, which they've just annihilated that back line. Because if you think Bastoni, Skriniar and De Vrij might be their centre-half situation, but their right wing-back was Dumfries. Well, if you've just gotten rid of 3 of the 5, you've signed on Onana as well, the backup goalkeeper. I forgot to say about him. Your wage bill's gone rocketing up. And selling Skriniar won't cut it. Selling Dumfries won't cut it. And I don't think if selling De Vrij would cut it in terms of their wages against Dybala's going to be on about 250k a week. I'd say Lukaku's going to be around 200, 250k. I know he said about talking about a pay cut. Anana's probably 80 to 100. You think all these other players they're taking out on loan, all these other loan deals, they really add up. So interesting. Want to see the background to their finances because I think they're going to have to sell. And if they do have to sell, there's a few players in there that Conte would love, who made them better, who we might get a little bit cheaper. I still think we need to raid into a little bit. If they go and get a Bremer, hang on, you're spending a lot of money now, guys. Where are you going? But for me, if I had to choose, I'd probably say I'd like De Vrij. Quality proven, centre half, international footballer, played in some huge games. And I like Bremer as well. Those would be the 2. But, that would mean Sanchez has to go. Because I still think we need to get a left-sided centre-back to start. Davies could even still be the backup to that player. You then have, say, Dyer and another. And then you have Romero and another. With Rodon going off on loan. Sanchez maybe being sold to Monaco. Maybe Bremer is that one. And maybe get Hincapie or an Indika or a Longley or something like that. What I don't want it to be is, we've got Longley, he's our starting centre-half, and me go, that's not really much of an improvement on Ben Davies, in my opinion. The only other thing is maybe he's better in the air, but we'll see. Anyway, like and subscribe, comment down below your thoughts, your opinions, your feelings about everything. I think it's going to be a busy week for Spurs. I think we might get someone else in this week. Let's just wait and see. It's exciting as always at Spurs. It's never dull. It's never low-key. But let me know. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care.